A new twist in the controversy surrounding the departure from WWE of now former superstar Ridge Holland, as WWE reportedly is unhappy about Holland mentioning his mortgage problems on social media and is reportedly unsympathetic towards his financial plight. A GoFundMe has now been set up for the now former WWE superstar, with stars from both WWE and AEW donating to the cause. AEW, meanwhile, finds himself in a dispute with the NWA over the Shockwave trademark. Plus, the current NWA national champion has had some words for AEW president Tony Khan after the announcement of the impending AEW national championship. All this and more in this news update. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with the latest regarding this Ridge Holland controversy that seemingly day by day is getting bigger and bigger. Ridge Holland's WWE contract, of course, was due to expire on November 14th, but the former rugby league player has found himself without a job earlier than anticipated after the company opted to terminate his deal early over recent social media posts from the 37-year-old. Holland, real name Luke Menzies, recently noted on X that he felt that he had been hung out to dry by WWE after he was informed his contract would not be renewed despite Holland currently being out of action due to injury. Holland noted in the same post that he was unsure how he was going to pay his mortgage. Holland sustained a Liz Frank foot injury in September while performing for TNA as a WWE representative, and that he may also require neck fusion surgery at some point. Despite Holland's financial issues and his inability to wrestle until at least well into 2026, Dave Meltzer has reported on Wrestling Observer Radio that WWE are unsympathetic towards his plight, and the company instead feels that Holland should have known he was likely going to be let go and should have adjusted his finances after he accepted a pay cut in 2024. Menzies reportedly accepted a $200,000 pay cut in signing a new one-year deal in November of last year. Meltzer has claimed that WWE were going to cut Holland in 2024 before he worked out a new deal. Quote, he had signed a one-year renewal at a much lower rate. The way that went down, they were going to cut him a year ago, and he kind of worked out a deal with them where he would go to NXT for 1 year and he would be paid less because he was in NXT than he was being paid before. So they gave him another year, Meltzer said. Now, WWE informed Holland in mid-October 2025 that his contract would not be renewed and he would become a free agent on November 14th. After criticizing the company on X in recent days, though, WWE fired him as the company felt he was in breach of contract. Quote, in your deal, you're not supposed to talk badly about the company in public, and so they felt that they now have the right to fire him. It's going to cost him. It'll either be 1 week's pay or 2 weeks' pay because he wasn't getting paid beyond November 14th anyway. They didn't need to do it. I guess they felt that they, however you want to look at it, they wanted to send a message to everybody out there that if you say anything bad, you can get cut. And that's what happened. It's kind of screwed for him, Meltzer later added. Meltzer also noted, quote, I feel bad for him, obviously. I have been told the other side from them, which is essentially that he should have known from last year that the way everything went down, that he probably wasn't going to be under WWE much longer either way, and he was getting paid through the end of the WWE deal. He made money there. I wouldn't say he made a great amount of money in the last year, but in other years, main roster money is good money. Their feeling is as well, when you know that this is happening, you should adjust your finances and everything like that. At the end, I may lose my mortgage. Well, they weren't happy that he said that. Now, in terms of what happens next, well, there actually now is a GoFundMe because of Holland's possible financial issues. A GoFundMe has been launched looking to raise funds for Ridge Holland following his WWE firing, with the campaign looking to raise $60,000 to, quote, keep a roof over their heads, food on the table, pay the bills, cover travel to hospital appointments, and give him a chance to focus on healing without the constant fear of financial collapse, end quote. Now, as I mentioned, this comes as he's unable to wrestle with this Liz Frank injury that he suffered and a possibility of neck fusion surgery as well. The GoFundMe has raised close to over $8,000 at the time recording, and Holland has received donations from WWE and AEW talents. Chelsea Green and Amos have both set up monthly donations of $1,000 to the GoFundMe. AEW's Kyle Fletcher and Nicholas Jackson have donated $1,000, as has former WWE champion Jinder Mahal. The full GoFundMe listing, set up by Susan Chapman, reads, quote, "Help a father of 3 heal without losing everything. A hard-working husband, a devoted wife, 3 beautiful children, and a devastating injury that threatens to take it all away. We're reaching out with heavy hearts on behalf of a dear family in crisis. A loving father of 3 suffered injuries whilst on the job, injuries that have not only left him unable to work, but also abandoned by the very company he served. Despite being injured at work, he was hired as a 1099 contractor, meaning he's not eligible for workers' comp, sick leave, or any support from the employer. Since the injury, the company has offered to pay for medical expenses, but no pay. No new contract. The family has already endured a 55% pay cut last year and have done everything possible to reduce their expenses. He is now facing months of recovery, including another surgery in March of next year and potentially a neck surgery this month, leaving him unable to return to work until at least late April or early May if recovery goes as hoped. His wife, who is already stretched thin caring for him and their 3 young children, is doing her best, but without any nearby family or support system, it's simply not enough. Every day is a struggle mentally and physically. They would like to provide a sense of stability for their children who are watching their world slowly unravel. They're doing everything they can, but it's not enough. They are at risk of losing their home, of falling into debt they may never escape, of having their kids face a holiday season filled with fear and uncertainty rather than joy. This family needs a lifeline, and they need it now. Your donation, no matter the size, will give them the time and space to heal, regroup, and rebuild without losing everything they've worked so hard for. Please give what you can and share this campaign with your community. Every share, every prayer, every dollar means the world to this family. Together, we can help them make it through this unimaginable season and into a more hopeful future. This fundraiser has been created to help this beautiful family through the months ahead, to keep a roof over their heads, food on the table, pay the bills, cover travel to hospital appointments, and give him chance to focus on healing without the constant fear of financial collapse. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Now, as far as WWE's attitude to how they're going to pay talents for working these extra dates outside of the company, i.e. for TNA or for AAA or something like that, this has actually been revealed as well. WWE and TNA Wrestling have been working together since May of 2024, initially on an informal basis before the working relationship was formalized in January of this year. The partnership has seen WWE, NXT, and TNA wrestlers cross over on a regular basis, and while TNA wrestlers are on paid per appearance basis by WWE for extra appearances on NXT, WWE talents who appear on TNA programming don't receive any extra money. This has been recently proven to be controversial due to Ridge Holland sustaining this Liz Frank foot injury in September while wrestling for TNA as a WWE representative, especially as WWE then opted to let not only Holland's contract expire, but also now actually fire him before his contract was even set to expire. According to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, WWE's attitude towards paying wrestlers extra for wrestling in TNA or AAA is that talent are working far fewer dates than they expected to work when they signed their WWE contracts. Quote, if WWE talent works for AAA, which is part of WWE anyway, or if they work for TNA, they don't get paid extra because everybody is on a guaranteed contract. You make this much, they book you as they see fit. It can be for other companies. That's just how it works right now. From their standpoint, based on previous generations or even a year or two ago, the fact is you are going to be working far less dates for that guaranteed money than you would have been even a year ago because they've cut way back on shows, Meltzer said. So because they've cut back way back on shows, and it's essentially, for most people, 1 day a week, that they might book you a second day a week or for a TNA taping or go to AAA, whatever the deal is, it's like you're still working a lot less dates than, for most people, than they expected to work when they actually signed their deal in the first place. Now, WWE have cut back on house shows in recent years, and those cuts have only continued since the WWE UFC merger under TKO Group Holdings. The changes contributed to WWE doubling their ticket prices since the TKO merger. Now let's switch over here to AEW. It was announced, of course, this week that the AEW national title on Wednesday's Dynamite was announced by Tony Khan, but it has sparked some controversy as NWA wrestlers pointed out that the NWA national title already exists and has the lineage that Tony Khan spoke about when it comes to his AEW national title introduction. While the two sides might be battling online over the national title name, they are battling legally over the trademark of Shockwave. Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics first reported the full details, saying that on September 6th, 2024, AEW filed to trademark AEW Shockwave under intent to use. It was rumored that AEW would be launching a show called Shockwave, but as of now, that plan has not come to fruition. On September 23rd, 2024, the NWA filed its own application to register NWA Shockwave under use in commerce. NWA ran a series of YouTube shows titled NWA Shockwave, which debuted in December 2020. The series was short-lived, but NWA revived the Shockwave name for a series of events in January of 2025. On June 5th, Corgan's company filed a formal opposition to the AEW application. In it, the NWA claimed it had been using the NWA Shockwave name continuously since at least as early as December 1st, 2020. The NWA also claimed that the NWA's predecessors used the NWA Shockwave mark for many years prior to Lightning One, that being Billy Corgan's company, acquisition of the NWA wrestling business and associated intellectual property rights. Thurston wrote, quote, attorneys for the NWA wrote in the opposition filing that the company sent AEW a legal letter on September 26, 2024, demanding that AEW abandon its AEW Shockwave application and agree in writing that AEW will not use the name or any variations that could cause confusion in the marketplace. NWA obtained the registration of NWA Shockwave in June 2025, but AEW's filing remained active. Quote, AEW filed its formal answer to the NWA's opposition the next month on July 15th, denying the NWA's claims and arguing that AEW's application should still proceed. AEW's attorneys argued that the NWA hadn't used Shockwave continuously since 2020. They also claimed the trademarks aren't confusingly similar, despite both using the Shockwave term and both possibly being applied to wrestling programming. AEW also denied that the NWA would be damaged by AEW's use of the name, wrote Thurston. Now, this dispute is still ongoing, but as I mentioned, there is this controversy now when it comes to the national championship because AEW added this new men's title to its lineup on Wednesday, announcing the AEW National Championship, which is supposed to be in the spirit of the NWA National Championship. However, the NWA, of course, is still active, as is the NWA National title. And the current holder, Mike Mondo, took issue with Wednesday's announcement. He wrote the following on social media saying, quote, let me be clear. There is only one NWA, and there is only one prestigious national championship that holds legit lineage and has for decades. So to Tony Khan or anyone else confused, here's the legit title with the company it belongs to and the legit national champion. My name is Mike Mondo. Now, Mondo has been national champion since August, when he ended the near year-long reign of Mims. Since Billy Corgan's revival of the NWA in 2017, the title has been held by the likes of Colt Cabana, Chris Adonis, as well as former TNA wrestling star James Storm. So, of course, if we get any more details on this, we'll let you know in a future video. Bianca Belair details on when she's expected to return to WWE television. Body Slam has reported that the belief within WWE is Bianca Belair will be returning to the company's programming in the early stages of 2026. WWE are feeling hopeful about the current timeline for Belair's return, but they also know there's a chance that Belair's return could take place earlier than expected. Should Belair return in early 2026, the Royal Rumble could be a possibility for her comeback, with the show due to take place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on January 31st. The Rumble often features surprises, although they could be reduced in 2026 due to the show being held in the Middle East. Belair has been out of action since she suffered a broken finger during her triple threat match against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky at WrestleMania 41 back in April. Belair's injury was worse than initially believed as her knuckle was affected, Fightful has reported. Now, she has made appearances on WWE television whilst being out of action, notably serving as the special guest referee for the street fight between Jade Cargill and Naomi at July's Evolution Premium Live event. Switching over to New Japan Pro Wrestling here and an update on Hiroshi Tanahashi's final opponent. One of the greatest wrestling careers of all time is coming to a close in the very near future. Hiroshi Tanahashi's retirement is upon us as he's set to end his 26-year career at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom on January 4th next year. The subject of his opponent has been heavily speculated, and Fightful Select say they have learned more about the planned reveal. As of yesterday, November 6th. The match wasn't officially signed and delivered, but Fightful have been told that the candidates are down to 3 possibilities. A decision will be revealed in the next week or so, and New Japan Pro Wrestling plans on conducting a press conference to officially announce their plans. Fightful had reported previously that Shinsuke Nakamura was discussed internally, but was seen as a pipe dream. He's not expected to be the opponent. Fightful say they've mentioned numerous times that Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega from AEW have been considered as well. A bit of an update here on the women's division in WWE NXT. Despite rumours throughout 2025 involving several key names, there's actually been very few call-ups from WWE NXT to the main roster as compared to the past. Part of that may be due to WWE doing less to shake up the rosters on Raw and SmackDown than before, as there is yet to be a draft held this year, and likely will not be one with only 2 months left of the year. As such, it begs the question of when another shake-up or call-up from NXT will take place, and who some of those call-ups may be. In a recent Fightful Select Answers, Sean Ross Sapp speculated on 3 names from the NXT Women's Division who he could see finding a spot on Raw or SmackDown in the near-distant future. The names were none other than former NXT Women's Champion Jacy Jayne, former TNA Knockouts World Champion Jordynne Grace, and longtime NXT talent Wendy Chu. Though he appeared to have no hard evidence regarding the 3 being called up, Sapp provided solid reasons for all 3. In particular, believing Jayne had earned herself a shot following her lengthy reign as NXT Women's Champion this year. While Grace is yet to hold a championship in NXT since signing in the winter, it was noted that her contract already had her making main roster money, making it unlikely that WWE would keep her down there for the long haul. Now, Ring of Honor here, and Deonna Purrazzo has advanced in the tournament to crown the Ring of Honor Women's Pure Champion. Purrazzo defeated Trish Adora in the first round last night. The finish saw Purrazzo catch Adora in a Fujiwara armbar and then transition into a Venus de Milo submission for the victory. Deonna Purrazzo will face Queen Aminata in the second round of the tournament. The other side of the bracket will feature Billy Starks against the winner of Serena Deeb versus Yuka Sakazaki. The first ever Ring of Honor Women's Pure Champion will be crowned at Final Battle on December 5th. A big Ring of Honor Women's World Championship match is confirmed for a couple of weeks' time as well. Harley Cameron will get her shot at the Ring of Honor Women's title against Athena on the November 20th episode of ROH Television. The announcement was made on the November 6th episode of ROH TV. Cameron pinned the Forever Champion in a tag team match on Wednesday's AEW Dynamite after hitting her finishing move. The bout was part of the AEW Women's Tag Team Title Tournament, where Cameron and Willow Nightingale defeated Athena and Mercedes Moné in the first round. Now, we spoke briefly there about Final Battle and a bit of an update on the lineup for the upcoming pay-per-view. As the November 6th edition of ROH on Honor Club was ongoing, 2 match announcements were locked in for Ring of Honor Final Battle on December 5th. The pay-per-view is happening in Columbus, Ohio, as part of GalaxyCon. At Final Battle, the finals of the Ring of Honor Women's Pure Championship Tournament will take place. Meeting in the semi-finals will be Queen Aminata versus Deonna Purrazzo. Billy Starks advanced out of the first round. She'll take on the winner of Serena Deeb versus Yuka Sakazaki. It was also announced that the AEW National Championship will be defended. The first champion is going to be crowned in a Casino Gauntlet match at the upcoming AEW Full Gear pay-per-view later on this month. Going over to TNA Wrestling here, and a documentary about Ash by Elegance has been announced. Ash by Elegance is not currently an active in-ring performer, as she relinquished the TNA Knockouts World Championship and announced she would be stepping away from in-ring competition. Ash would go on to say during a virtual signing that she is retired from wrestling, but had a never say never mindset about the idea of coming back. As the November 6th edition of TNA Impact was airing, a preview for a TNA Immerse documentary was shown, and it is centered around Ash. It covers her journey to TNA, capturing the Knockouts title, and her stepping away from the ring. She still appears alongside the Elegance brand on TNA Impact. She was present on last night's show. She was present, involved in this search for Mr. Elegance. Now, the Open Fight Night edition of TNA Impact aired on November 6th. During a break in the action, there was a video message from the Elegance brand. They are searching for Mr. Elegance. It was announced that the selected individual will receive a 1-year contract with TNA Wrestling. Of course, as I mentioned, Ashby Elegance was involved in the segment, but she has stated that she is retired from in-ring competition. Now, several matches and segments have been confirmed for next week's episode of TNA Impact. TNA is back to its regularly scheduled programming. For the first time since the Bound for Glory pay-per-view, TNA Wrestling is going to be presenting new in-ring action content with a live edition of TNA Impact from Full Sail University. The November 13th show is going to feature a live concert with Elijah. Elijah returned to Bound for Glory and stopped Nick Nemeth from using his Call Your Shot Gauntlet trophy to cash in on new TNA World Champion Mike Santana. Elijah had been out of action after tearing his triceps. Also on the docket for the November 13th program is a singles match between Cedric Alexander and Order 4's Jason Hotch. On November 14th, TNA is presenting its Turning Point special. A bit of an update here on the WWE Women's ID Championship. A new WWE ID Women's Champion will be crowned at Wrestling Open Rhode Island on November 17th. Competitors for the match were not announced, but the WWE ID social media stated that whoever wins the title would be ID'd. This is what they said, quote, breaking, the new WWE ID Women's Champion will be crowned on November 17th at Wrestling Rhode Island at Rhodes on Pawtucket, Cranston, Rhode Island. Whoever wins the championship will be ID'd. Of course, Kylie Ray was the first ever ID Women's Champion, but she vacated the title after announcing her pregnancy. Her ID contract was not renewed in October. Zoe Sager is the only female on the active ID roster. Liv Morgan, she's not currently cleared for in-ring competition, but she was making the towns appearing at the Stranger Things Season 5 world premiere. Season 5 of Stranger Things is going to hit Netflix on November 26th. A world premiere was held for the series on November 6th, and among those in attendance was WWE's own Liv Morgan. Of course, the two-time WWE Women's Champion is recovering after undergoing shoulder surgery during the summer. Morgan suffered the shoulder injury while wrestling Kairi Sane on Monday Night Raw. She landed directly on her elbow, which caused a dislocation of her shoulder. The match was thrown out as Morgan was not able to continue. And finally, an update on Blood and Guts and the runtime for the show. It was kind of reported before, but now seemingly it is confirmed. AEW Blood and Guts next week will have an extended runtime on Wednesday, November 12th. The TBS schedule lists Blood and Guts as running from 8 p.m. Eastern to 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Fightful Select reported on November 3rd that Blood and Guts would have an extended episode. Of course, the current lineup for the show includes the men's Blood and Guts match, a women's Blood and Guts match, as well as a Falls Count Anywhere match between AEW World Champion and the Ops powerhouse Hobbs. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.